video is brought to you by DL Site, home of the official English translation for BL visual novel Friendly Lab Unlock. Head to the link in the description to get the game today. More on that later in this video. Can't spell games without G. Whether they're visual novels, mobile games, or something more obnoxiously ambitious, today we're gonna take a look at 20 upcoming games that are BL and/or bara and/or gay and/or LGBTQIA+, and/or whatever other Rainbow Mafia buzzword they want to squeeze in the promo in the hopes that someone will give a f***ing buy. We'll start off with sequels of existing series, pivot into the brand new titles that are coming who knows when, and end with some already released games that are getting or hopefully will get an English translation. So in the comments, list which upcoming BL games, both mentioned in this video and not, you're most excited for. Let the games begin!
I don't wanna lie, I don't have the time, pick up the pace.
Rodius is a low-rank criminal. One day, an inexplicable urge prompts him to leave his gang behind and take to the distant mountains. While wandering the alien hinterlands, he comes across a handsome traveler who invites him to the Temple of Renewal, where he claims Rodius is bound to obtain many answers to his questions. Being in the sacred temple reveals unexpected things about him, including a primal hunger he didn't know he had. Even stranger, he now has a new desire he's not so comfortable admitting. A desire for a close connection with the men he meets. I still haven't played the first Symbiant, even though I have no excuse not to. I literally bought it when it was on sale. So I imagine I'll probably play the sequel too, unless the first game's story turns out to be egregiously undesirable, but I don't think it'll be that bad. What's interesting about the Symbiant sequel is that for the first game, I was very much interested based on Danya, the main character, but Brav, the Blue Man No Group, I had no interest in whatsoever, even if he had a plant that I would gladly water daily. However, this time around, I'm going for Blue Taba Dee Taba Die. It's slated for 2026, so I guess I have about a year to play the original. Liao, having been awakened to the ability to see the gods and spirits in this world, came into contact with 3 feline spirits who each wanted a say in his life and his future. 3 years after the story of Nekojishi, Liao is out of college and strapped for cash, and those closest to him, the spirits Lin Hu, Likulao, and Yan Shuqi, are desperate to help Liao get a job. Take the reins at Linen Partners Architects LLP, an architecture firm specializing in the restoration of haunted locations and solving the problems of the beastman spirits dwelling within them. As Linen Partner grows, a larger company looms near. Liao and the others must uncover their motives and ideals for tradition in modern society. Connect with both old and new faces as Liao finds himself deep within the world of gods and spirits once more. Nekojishi Linen Partners is the sequel to the original Nekojishi, also by Studio Klondike, and yet another visual novel I've bought and have yet to play. What's interesting about this sequel is that it's apparently gonna be a Switch game. The original, from what I understand, was just a visual novel, so I guess with that one's success, they said, let's be ambitious! And now they're trying to be the hot new IP from Nintendo. Good luck. Your copyright is more than safe. The turning visual novels into games is a growing trend I've sensed that I don't know how I feel about, but good for them. The Kickstarter is back, the Tigers are stacked, I'm trying to get that ass smacked. I mean, probably not on a Nintendo console. Otherwise, the Fate Stay Night remaster probably would have never happened. But it looks cute. Aiden on the narration is a little jarring as a Camp Buddy fan, but I always with the furry. The last 2 sequels are unfortunately not far enough in development to have trailers or really that much promo imagery or sometimes even a description. But they're here as follows and both highly anticipated for me. Dive into the reboot story of the Deeper series. Join Junya Tadano and his new swimming club team to win the national championship. Experience unforgettable deep friendship and possibly deeper love stories. As the description stated, Deever is the sequel of sorts to the original Deeper Dojin series. And this game is produced by Herculeon Games, the same people behind Full Service. Y'all know I love Full Service, one of my favorite visual novels ever! So even though I've had no interest in the original Deeper series, I'm still excited for Deever regardless, because when it comes to hot pieces of that's Jojo Maz no-nos. Unfortunately, the game hasn't updated the official Twitter since April 2023, so I'm assuming things have stalled. But as I've clearly been stating, I kind of have a bit of a backlog when it comes to VNs to play, so I'm in no rush. And lastly is Knights College 2! Knights College is my second favorite visual novel of all time, so I'm very, 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 very excited for more Argo Oscar Grantley. Tongue out and shit on the poster, I'm so wet! Dying to reunite with my foey friends, as well as meet some new ones like this hot ass deer. It's only been announced and has a key visual so far, so I'm very, very, very much looking forward to updates. And speaking of updates, head to the link in the description to head to my Patreon in order to get the English translation version of Friendly Lab Unlock, now available on DL Site. Friendly Lab Unlock is a BL game where you play as a researcher whose goal is to experiment with and observe 2 test subjects and their reactions to the various commands and stimuli you subject them to. It's got 10 endings, lots of dialogue, and most importantly, The most clickbaity but not entirely untrue way that I would describe the game in my personal opinion, it's Danganronpa meets slow damage meets your annual physical in a padded room. So of course it's wholesome. You can actually purchase from DL site with a credit card again, but in case you want to utilize their point system, it goes as follows. Log into your DL site account and click the account button, then my page. Scroll down on the left to purchase points, then click 4 books. Make sure you click this link specifically so you purchase the right thing. On the new 4 books page, you can select to buy points equivocal to the yen price on DL site, so 1 yen equals 1 point. Add to cart, make an account, and check out with the shop app if that's your thing. It is not mine, so know that you don't need to use it to check out. After buying your points, you will be emailed a code. Paste that code on the input serial code section, and boom! Now you can check out. You can buy BL, Gay Komi, or even Het if you so choose. Again, click the link in the description that will send you to my Patreon. Everybody can see it. It's a free link, which will then send you to DL site where you can purchase Friendly Lab Unlocked. So make sure to buy the game and play the new English translated version yourself. And speaking of new,
Don't you question if it's love or pleasure. Just put that through my pressure points.
so these are all the brand new games that have been announced that I have an interest in. No prequels, no pressure. Jorge is kind of a but now he's forced by circumstances to act like a responsible adult. So he finds a good job at a multinational company of which he's really happy about, until he finds out that he will have to work with 4 of his exes. In this romantic comedy in an office setting, you'll help Jorge interact with his exes on a daily basis while trying to clean his karma and make up for all the crap he used to do to them. I didn't even realize Exes Assault was releasing this soon, but here we are. Maybe I should read the itch updates. The game won't actually fully release until a later time, but according to the Steam page, it's already available for early access for those who would like to access it early. Don't love office setting stories personally, but the guys are hot, so really do we need anything else? Jorge is apparently a and we are what we eat. Next one! 6 months after Kento's release from a juvenile detention center, he collides with a car and suffers severe injuries. The car's owner takes pity on him, offering a place to stay until he heals. Kento, who grew up in a harsh environment, gradually changes alongside a man with his own emotional scars. I'm giving you this lesson in... I came upon this while doing research for this video. Literally never heard of it before, but apparently it's coming this June. This premise is thrilling. Hobble a man and take him home. Now that is a pickup artist. Apparently it's also from the same makers of No Thank You and Room Number 9, neither of which I've played, but of which I know have their fans. I'm kind of very low-key excited for it. Hopefully there'll also be an English release, but way too early to tell. A holiday vacation goes completely wrong after your plane crashes onto an unknown island. You play as the protagonist of the story who manages to survive the crash along with a few survivors. Secrets lie uncovered on the unassuming-looking island, which will be intertwined with the struggle for survival and the fates of your newly found companions. Stranded is a visual novel that presents a number of choices which will decide the future of your own existence along with that of the group. Stranded is giving Lost and Furry dice, so need I say more and need I wait less? The game is gradually in development. According to the official Twitter, a few chapters have been released, but the general update roadmap seems to imply there's going to be at least 7 chapters, so it'll be a while before this one is finished. Being stranded on an island is a fun concept. I will probably get all bad ends because that is my destiny. But the characters are real fluffy, and I love fluffy, especially when there's less fluff. A gorgeous gay dating sim where you date hunky Oni in feudal era Japan. The only way the cursed Oni can get free from the onsen is by seducing the sexy samurai Asano. Some of you may remember I played the Oni onsen demo a little over a year ago. Danae, underestimate my character discerning skills. This makes it easier. You may seem a delicate rose, but I know there's a fire brewing below. You have the my time was had. Won't say much else, you can watch that video and see my full thoughts. But I figured I'd at least mention it since it is, of course, still on the way. Make sure to wishlist it on Steam. Olympus U is the most prestigious sports school in the world, known for its athletic programs and award-winning teams. At this all-boys campus, attendees build close-knit communities of classmates and teammates, forming their own circle of friends that last a lifetime. Experience everything college life has to offer, from creating unforgettable experiences, finding romance in the most unlikely of places, and in this impactful period of life, discovering your sense of purpose. What a misleading description. You said all that just to mean it's gonna be good old Jock Studio, a demo I played over a year ago. Watch my playthrough and root compilation if you haven't already, but knowing y'all, you guys probably already have full uncensored of all of that is available exclusively on Patreon. This game, I mean, listen, I'm a long-time Blitz player. I loved both Camp Buddy and Scoutmaster Season. The love interests in this are hot. I'm invested in the story. I want to see the game. But anyone who has watched any of my playthroughs over the years, again, available both on Patreon and for channel members, know that I am very game mechanically challenged. I could barely get those letters in place in the original Camp Buddy minigame. So when Jock Studio slid into our lives like a child actor on Heelys and Yachts, in the spirit of previous games, I expected this to be College AU Camp Buddy. But apparently, according to the many updates, this is really something more along the lines of Final tree. I can't deal with all this. Obviously, I'm not a hater. But I'd be lying if I said I wasn't overwhelmed by literally everything they've been proposing for this game. I'm not a gamer, but clearly, apparently, I guess most of their base must be, since this is something they probably desired, so I guess I'll try. It's coming at some point, and so will we. Unless I'm too busy boomering through the AI phone. Asahi is a young man who lives in the defensive city of Asgard. He inherited his grandmother's restaurant, Norn's Dine, which was named after the goddess of fate. He spent his days as a chef, well-liked in the community for his skill and friendly personality. In order to satisfy the appetites of people who live their lives to the fullest and that have the energy to survive another day, he uses his skills to cook a wide variety of dishes every day. This is a story of fate and the bonds that Asahi forms with the people he meets in the Table of Fate. No stay night. Stay the night! So this is Fate Stay the Night. That's gonna be the subtitle. Norn's Dine, quite frankly, is probably my personally most anticipated visual novel currently in development. It's put together by Hik Hik Games, and its character designs and art is done by a list of artists that I followed over the years. Ito, Arima, Heiki, and No Q, as well as art by Taro Bandit, Muni Enomoto, and Gozu Farm, all who I'd never heard of before. The art is, as expected, incredible in all ways. It wouldn't not be. Was slated for end of 2024, but has since been delayed. I'll wait forever, honestly, for this one. Maybe not forever, but I will gladly have patience. This is literally a crossover I never expected, and Asahi is smoking hot, so literally every root and every love interest is a win, baby! You were born cursed, with hands that twist the mind of any human you touch. Desperation leads you to the shadowy city of Iridia, where your fate intertwines with 5 monstrous strangers. Each can offer you salvation or damnation. How far will you go to cure yourself? I remember the Touchstarved trailer going viral a few years ago, which is what entirely put it on my radar. I don't know that I'm personally that excited for it. I'm not really drawn to any of the characters, although this one guy, Leander, kind of reminds me of Madarame. But the trailer went viral, so I imagine that there is a high demand and high anticipation for this to come out. Apparently the game is from your POV and you are able to choose your pronouns as well, so I'm guessing the whole time you're just a pair of hands. You play as a young man who finds himself stranded on a tropical island. As you navigate the challenges of survival, you'll also have the chance to meet a diverse cast of handsome men, each with their own unique personalities and stories. Can you find love and build a life on the island, or will you be forever alone? Only time will tell. Paradise Escape is from the same people who made Seiyudanshi, as well as the currently sort of in development, sort of not Banana Ranch. I've had Seiyudanshi like on my list of visual novels to play for like so long. I still haven't played it. But I can't lie, Paradise Escape kind of looks like something I would be much more interested in. Now I know what I said about Jock Studio, and it's complicated in the gameplay and all the mechanics, and I'm not a gamer, and Final Fantasy joke I'm really proud of. Blah, blah, blah. But looking at the Paradise updates on Twitter, you can swim? I'm sorry, these mechanics are flashing me back to Donkey Kong 64, arguably my favorite Nintendo 64 game. So I might need to change who I am. But I need a controller, and maybe a console, and like a ton more free time. You will be playing Shotaro, an average boy trying to survive his college years. Through his first year at his new college, many adventures await him, especially once he gets involved with 4 handsome upperclassmen. Follow the main character Shotaro's everyday life and meet his friends and possible love interests. Can't lie, I sense the ghost of Camp Buddy haunting Sakura Tempest. Shotaro, Keitaro, Toshiya, Hiro, Jun, Natsumi, Noah, Ikemen Hunter, Yuya, Yoichi. And then a male nurse. Nurse! Pretty standard and typical, both setting and like premise and like love interest types for like literally any BL visual novel, but hey, we need water to survive, don't we? Unfortunately, production on this also seems to have stalled since 2023. I don't know why so many games started stalling in 2023. So who knows when this will see the light of day. Our story begins on the day when the little tiger, Eurarius, transfers to Kazumoto Academy. On that day, he arrived at the last minute of the registration deadline for various reasons. The white tiger teacher who greeted him said something shocking, and the subsequent developments were beyond his expectations. And his wonderful and colorful new life in the academy also happily began at this time. There are already 15 and still increasing students and teachers of many races waiting to greet you on the other side of the gates of Kazumoto Academy. Start enrolling today! The only reason I know Shunfang Xinjian Once Upon a Breeze exists, I had to look because I'm like, what is the English trying to remember the Chinese? Is from my spelunking down the rabbit hole of fan-made furry merch on Taobao. Love when It's a little cute and a lot of kimono, and this very much fits the bill. Although I wouldn't say these are some of my favorite furry character designs, but mature content warnings more than make up for that. So far, only a demo is out, and that demo is only in Chinese, but they have a Steam page, so hopefully it'll update and expand when it fully releases. The story of The Black Chapter depicts the main character, Samoan police officer Andy, who, in an accident many years ago, gained access to the magic eyes of Flow, which allow him to see through the workings of things. This is literally the Garden of Sinners. He and his predecessor in the police academy, Gray, jointly investigated a vicious serial murder case, the Skinning Case. Just when life suddenly changes drastically, Andy's magic eye gradually awakens. Black Chapter is another Chinese language only, demo only so far at this point, with no real follow-up. Among the many lists of them that are in this list. But the art is incredible, so I could not follow its production. The itch page hasn't been updated in a while, and it basically only has this demo. But the Aftian page, which from what I can see is basically like a Chinese crowdfunding service similar to Patreon, is constantly updated. So if you understand Chinese, go ahead and pledge to the Spark Club Game Production team. And get in there!
I gotta get in there!
A town enveloped in twilight. This place without morning and noon is permanently bustling with people engrossed in their own activities. The only thing they fear is the night, the moment when everything is engulfed in darkness. When night falls, the demons will take us to hell. To fight these demons, the people establish the Special Security Guard, also known as Yonomori. Protagonist Mohora also belongs to Yonomori and is on a mission to defeat the demons. A group of problematic members of the Guard are transferred to Special Division 3, which is tasked with defeating dangerous demons. One day during a mission, he is attacked by another demon who orders Mohora to return Shu to him. Suito wa Hakume, aka Twilight Aqua City, was announced back in 2022 and literally has not had any single updates ever since. The history, art, and concept looks phenomenal. The bodies are phenomenal. Holic Works, not to be confused with the Clamp series, has been on hiatus for about 7 years now and should be returning sometime this month, I think. Seems to be pushing other games of theirs, Tokyo 24 Ward for the time being, as well as Tokyo Satsujinki Gakko no Kaiden, which released last year. So I guess they're preoccupied. But hey, they made merch. It was on the cover of a mag. Hard to believe that it won't come out eventually at some point.
It should be illegal.
Okay, so the last section is a list of games, short list of games, that have already been released, but either have an English version planned, I expect they'll probably have an English version planned, or I would very much like and hope for them to have an English version planned. The list is as follows. 4 captains from the same mafia family, the CR5, are taken out in one fell swoop and left to rot behind bars. Lucky for them, our hero's already there. Jian's just a run-of-the-mill wise guy, passing his time doing petty jobs for the family when he's on the outside and living the lazy life when he's in the slammer. But those easy days come to an end when he gets word from the boss. If he can break the captains out, Jian will earn a spot at the top of the hierarchy. Can he pull off a job this big, or is it more than Jian's fabled good luck can manage? Lucky Dog 1 from Tennoji, the same game developer as Friendly Lab Unlock, wink wink, is a game whose English translation both has been confirmed as well as highly anticipated for many, many years now. And according to the official localizer Manga Gamer last year, it's done. So release is basically only a matter of time, you lucky dog. The story focuses on protagonist Tamaki, who's a transfer student at an all-boys boarding school. The school is not just any boarding school, and most of the students are children of elites. It was built based on the idea of creating the best environment in which students can focus on studying. Any form of entertainment is strictly prohibited. Going outside is also forbidden, and even going home during the summer vacation is not allowed. Tamaki becomes friends with 3 students. However, their behavior makes him uncomfortable. Who really is honest? There is something strange about this school. I would hope so. Hiro no Arcadia! Not to be confused with Joan of Arcadia! What if that was? I happened upon this visual novel one day by chance and was drawn to it entirely because its cast very much reminded me of Cool Doji Danshi. Soma, Shun, Takayuki, Snow Scout Motoharu, Angry Delinquent Ayu Hayate, because I'm sorry, but him and Takayuki are too visually similar, so it needs a variant. It's a fairly new VN that released in Japan just in May of last year, and it released on DL Site, wink wink, check the link, who just translated Friendly Lab Unlock. So nudge nudge DL Site if you're listening. I'm hoping that maybe Grey Arcadia could be next on the English translation conveyor belt, please. The next entry on this is actually 2 games of the same series, but there's 2 separate love interests, and the descriptions are as follows. A 28-year-old wolfman working in Nakano, Tokyo is under a lot of stress from his mother's nagging and the increased overtime work that comes with the success of the robot his company released. Then a junior horseman suggests a trip to a hot spring. Shikishima, who has almost no travel experience, is not keen at first, but is persuaded by Ichikura's enthusiasm and decides to go on a 3-day, 2-night trip to Kusatsu Hot Springs in Gunma Prefecture, Ichikura's hometown. It's his first trip to a hot spring, his first sight, his first meal. What will he discover after these various experiences? Shikishima thought he could continue working in Tokyo in his current job, but he is persuaded by his boss to reluctantly accept his first business trip. Shikishima's subordinate Ichikura introduces him to some recommended hot springs in Kansai, and Shikishima boards the Tokaido Shinkansen. When he arrives in Kansai, he meets the Tiger Man's team leader. What kind of business trip will it be? Spending a week in an unfamiliar new place. So basically, it's unleash the tiger within you or horse around. Single Wolfie Goes Onsen Cruising is a game that I accidentally found about when I was browsing Dojin merch on Booth. Apparently looking for merch is, I guess, in my opinion, the best way to find good visual novels. It's been translated so far into Japanese, Chinese, and Korean, so I'm hoping that English could be on the docket down the line. And they are looking for an English translator, so it's not off the table. I will leave a link below in case anyone who is like a translator would be interested in helping them translate it. Lost Final Chapter is a high degree of freedom game that combines text, romance, and development. Players will control the protagonist to experience a youthful senior year and conquer many orc characters. So Lost End, much like many games in this video, is not yet in English. Beyond that is not available yet on Steam, and beyond that is another game that I accidentally found out about while coming across its merch on Taobao. After doing some digging and utilizing my Weeaboo detective skills, not to be confused with my Weeaboo detective skills, a separate but unequal skill set, the game is already apparently out in China on QQ, not to be confused with the dancehall artist who sings Stooky, One Drop, and So this one has multiple steps to get to the point of being able not only to play it, but to understand what the actual is going on. I can see why the end is lost. And lastly on the list in terms of English translations, Friendly Lab Unlock available in English right now! Click the link in the description to go to my Patreon for free, to then click a link to then go to DL Site to buy the game yourself. And thanks again to DL Site for once again sponsoring a video of mine. If you want to see this video extended and uncensored, make sure to head to my Patreon or become a channel member. It will be available tomorrow. Obviously, so far, my release schedule this year has been a little sparse. I don't know when the next time you will see me will be. I'm not gonna make promises and then break them like I keep doing. But in the meantime, I should be uploading my ASMR Bible Black vlogs of the entire Bible Black OVA series to my Patreon as well as for channel members, so join either of those things if that's something you would be interested in. It's frankly the greatest thing I've ever made. Other than that, 3-episode ruling podcast will be out probably in a few weeks as well, where I will be talking about what seasonal anime I'm watching and how I feel about all of it. So again, pledge to my Patreon specifically if that's something you would also be interested in. Other than that, tell me which games you're most excited for in the comments below. And is there any games you're anticipating that I missed? Probably, but do I give a Bye!